Sri Lanka's most powerful news brand.
A very good afternoon and welcome to Lunchtime News on TV1. We're coming to you live and direct from the Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. Let's first start off with a look at the stories that made it to your headlines this afternoon. Patients inconvenience by doctors' strike action. 4 arrested for stealing fuel distributed by the CPC. Court rejects application by Kumaravelgama to acquit him from bribery case. India thumped Pakistan to secure final berth at the Under-19 Cricket World Cup. Now we move on to the look at those stories in detail. Reports are coming in of disruptions of patient care in many hospitals across the country due to the trade union action launched by the Government Medical Officers Association. The trade union action, which started at 8 this morning, is in effect across many hospitals, hampering daily activities. Assistant Director of the GMOA, Dr. Nalin Herath, said the trade union action will continue until 8 tomorrow morning. The GMOA moved into this trade union action demanding solutions to 10 key issues, including one surrounding private medical colleges. Many patients who arrived for medication were forced to head back empty-handed.
දුප්පත් මිනිස්සු මෙහෙ රක් තියාදුවේ ඔක්කොම අල්ලම පේනවනේ ඒගොල්ලෝ ඉස්රායිල් වල අර බෙහෙත් දුන්නේ නැත්නම් මෙයා අසර නැයිනේ අපිට අපි කොහෙන්ද මේ බෙහෙත් ගන්න අපිට සල්ලි කොහෙද තියෙන්නේ.
A man was stabbed to death in Katugastota last evening. Police say the murder was the result of a family dispute.
The murder has taken place in Siambalakotua, Katugastota at around 6 last evening. The victim has been identified as a 30-year-old father of 2 from Siambalakotua. Police managed to arrest the suspect last night along with a knife used to commit the murder. The suspect is to be produced before the Kandy Magistrate Court today.
Police arrested 4 people for stealing CPC fuel stocks that were being transported to filling stations.
Police said fuel distributed by the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation using bowsers had thus been stolen. The suspects had transferred the fuel from CPC bowser to another bowser and filled the CPC bowser with furnace oil to avoid detection. Police said this large-scale racket has been in operation for a long time, and following the raid, 2 bowsers were seized. The suspects are to be produced in court today.
An illegal brewery operating in Ruanvalla was raided by the excise officers yesterday following a tip-off.
The brewery was operating in a secret house in Ampirihala, Ruanvalla. 2 suspects were arrested and police seized the equipment used to distill liquor. Over 300,000 litres of distilled liquor filled in 57 barrels, 32 Goda barrels and 14 gas cylinders were among the seized equipment. The suspects and the material are to be produced before the Ruanvalla Magistrate Court today.
Now, the Tea Board is considering the closure of 200 tea factories that fail to meet standards of producing tea, according to a report in the Mirror today. The report quotes the chairman of the board, Rohan Patiagoda, saying that the tea manufactured in many factories include grit, stones, lizards, glass fragments, insects and other residuals. He was quoted as saying, out of the 700 tea factories in Sri Lanka, we will have a better industry if we shut down a couple of hundred. The scrutiny on the subject comes amid increased issues on the standard of tea exported from Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka exports the most expensive mass-produced tea in the world. According to Rohan Patiagoda, tea factories are not only owned by gentlemen now, but also by political stooges. Previously, Minister Navin Dissanayake said that a new monitoring agency will be set up to look into production standards of regional plantation companies. Let's now have a listen to the views expressed in the political sphere.
Even though people like Sujiva Senasinghe and Nalin Bandara wash Wickramasinghe's linen, the people of this country will have a response for Wickramasinghe on the 10th of February. Ranil was elected to build the country. Honourable Prime Minister, what you have is a government that ruins a village and not build the country.
They are the ones who skimmed off 50,000 rupees from every million. They are the 50,000 heroes. Such people who call themselves patriots are contesting the polls from the flower bud. The contract is given to the village association and behind it are the families of the politicians.
We were told to go and ask from the villagers why the funds that remained following the end of the war were not used for development. We did so. Our mothers were told to bring their pots and pans and then put them on the ground at every junction. I took my pots and pans and did so.
If we carry a small baby in our arms and give a kiss on the cheek to an elderly woman, people will praise us as well. Our leader is not like that. He only waves his hand. The people say bad about it.
Harin Fernando looks at the Prime Minister, but the Prime Minister looks away. Harin Fernando gets up and walks to the side where the Prime Minister is looking at. The Prime Minister looks the other way. Then he used people to yell, "Give Harin's peace." Finally, the Prime Minister said he will not listen to that speech.
They believe work can be done by deploying henchmen. A commission was appointed to look into the bank robbery. They are responding quoting incident done during a time. They have failed to find a single crime of that era.
The loss from the hedging deal was 10,200 million rupees. Mahinda and Ajit Niwad Cabral are responsible for this. However, when the CPC suffered a loss, their pockets were filled. During Mahinda's administration, the airline was controlled by Shiranti's brother, Nishanta Wickramasinghe. He hasn't even passed the ordinary level. The loss of the airline was 125 billion rupees.
The government lifted the hopes of the people, but nothing was done to the people or the villagers. The people are frustrated.
After the 10th of February, Prime Minister Ranil Wickramasinghe and President Maithripala Sirisena will come together like former lovers. The flower bud is in the opposition. They don't even have the funds to build an anecut. The United National Party has the governing power and voting for those in the opposition will not bring any good to the village.
They cost the country 11 billion rupees, and now if they try to take away the civic rights of the leader who gave the right for the people to live, they will have to deal with us. We make it clear to the Prime Minister.
If a politician is whipped 10 times, the voter who votes for that person needs to be whipped 3 times. Their clothes need to be taken away when being whipped.
Welcome back. You're watching Lunchtime News on TV1. Colombo High Court Judge Gihan Kulathunga ordered to postpone the case filed by the Attorney General against former Minister Basil Rajapaksa and former Director General of the Divinaguma Development Department, Kitsiri Ranavaka, to the 13th of March. The case is filed under the charges of misappropriating 29.4 million rupees of funds belonging to the Divinaguma Development Department to print and distribute 5 million lith documents with the image of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa. Senior State Counsel pointed out to the Court of Appeal that the Court of Appeal had issued an order barring the case taken up before the High Court Justice Gihan Kulathunga until the 2nd of February. Taking this fact into consideration, the case was postponed. And a quick look back at some local news. The Colombo High Court rejected an application made by former Minister Kumar Velgama to acquit and release him from all charges mentioned in the case filed against him at the Colombo Additional Magistrates Court. Now, the case was filed by the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption. Today, High Court Judge Vikum Kaluarachi ordered to null the approval order issued on the 26th of September 2016 by the Colombo Additional Magistrate to amend the charge sheet in the case filed at the Colombo Additional Magistrates Court by the Bribery Commission. Now, the High Court Judge ordered the Colombo Additional Magistrates Court to continue taking up the case under the Penal Code if there is sufficient evidence to charge the suspect petitioner under the Penal Code. The case was filed against Velgama for creating a post of Deputy Chairman of the SLTB when he was the Minister of Transport, appointing a relative to that position, causing a loss of 3.3 million rupees to the SLTB by paying his wages and allowances. And with that, we wrap up lunchtime news on TV1 for today. To follow details of these stories and more, you can log on to our website, www.Newsfirst.lk. I'm Charlene Benedict for the News First team. Your latest news update will come your way at 1:55. Good day.